get our acceleration. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're gonna be going over a 2020 Ford F-450 FTX. This truck is absolutely insane. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to Ed Kenley Ford for giving me some time with the FTX. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get straight into the video. Under the hood of the FTX, we have the 6.7 liter Power Stroke diesel that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 475 horsepower and then 1,050 pound-feet of torque. Let's actually go over the front end of the FTX. So first off, you have this massive hood with the venting, which looks absolutely fantastic. I love the metallic flake in the paint, and that looks really good as well. And then you got these gigantic LED lights that are a signature of the heavy duties. And then notice that they've fully blacked out the Ford logo, and then they've got a camera just down below. And then you've got the grille, which is a mix between body colored elements and then blacked out elements, which is pretty cool. Fog lights just down below, and then you got the tow hooks in that little area. And then yes, you've got this little light bar here at the bottom. Now, one thing to mention, you do have to have the truck on to have the light bar on. So like you can have the lights on without the truck being on, but for the light bar, the truck does have to be on. Now, coming around the side here, we've got 285mm tires wrapped around 22-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. Just look how wide the tires are. Absolutely insane. And then this truck does come with a leveling kit that also comes with a speedo recalibration and then an alignment at the front end. I love how they black everything out. That's also another package you get on the FTX. Well, you can get on the FTX as like an optional equipment is to black everything out. So the wheels have been blacked out. And then here's a quick look at the front suspension of the truck, or at least what we can see of it. These fender flares are absolutely enormous. Like, I cannot even, like, I've got pretty big hands and I can't even fit my whole hand around the fender flare. It's just crazy how big they are. And you've got the FTX all-terrain badge right there with the venting. And then you got the mirrors right here, which you have the white there at the top, which is pretty cool. FTS logo here on the side. And then notice you got the massive mud flaps there on the front portion. We do have more on the rear, but we'll look at that more when we go to the rear. Now let's go over the rear of the FTX. So first off, this does come with Ford's little bed step. It's just integrated there into the tailgate. You guys have seen me pop it out a million times. And then again, just look at the metallic paint. It looks absolutely fantastic. You do get all of the plugins for towing, LED bed lights here in the back as well. And then you got a little fifth wheel prep. Now, the crazy thing about this truck is it tows well over 30,000 pounds with a fifth wheel trailer, which again is absolutely insane. And then the payload capacity is about 4,700 pounds. So it's just a super capable truck all around. Let's go over the rest of the rear. You'll notice that the cargo lights there at the top are LEDs, and then you got the LED tail lamps as well, and then you got little marker lights because it's a dually and it's super wide. Got the full blacked out exhaust tips, and then you have the massive mud flaps that look like they belong on a semi truck. Parking sensors all along here in the rear, and then notice that again they've blacked out the Ford logo back here, and then you got the Super Duty badging, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this truck, I think the rear end is, I don't know, I love the front end, but the rear end definitely looks really good as well. Let's go over the door panel here in the back of the FTX. So you've got the wood trim just up above the carbon fiber trim that's been added to the truck. And then we've got the seats here in the rear. So you've got the nice soft touch there over the headrest, the perforations just down below, just really nice material use. And then picking up the seat, we've got some nice storage just underneath. But let's actually step in, and this has the power running boards. So stepping in, well, it's super easy. You guys can see I've got a good amount of, well, if I sit all the way up, because people have been requesting that I sit all the way up. I'm 5'11", I've got a decent amount of headroom, and then legroom is pretty solid as well. And then you got a couple cup holders. We've got some heated seats down here, a whole area where we can charge devices, more of that carbon fiber trim, FTX floor mats. And then, wait for it, we've got a little cup holder contraption that does its own little thing. But anyways, that's the back of the FTX. Ooh. Now here's the front door panel on the FTX. So again, you've got the nice soft touch here all along the door panel with the wood trim just up above and the carbon fiber trim just down below. More carbon fiber trim just around all the window controls and the mirror controls. And yes, this does come with the mirror extender, which is definitely one of my favorite options from Ford. You've got your memory seats here just down below with the door lock and unlock. And then here are the front seats, which they do say FTX there at the top. Nice soft touch all throughout. And then you've got the perforations all down here. And then we do have the little adjustments here on the side of the seat, with the pedal layout just down below. You've got your power adjustments for the pedal, and then you got your little light control here with the mirror lights, and then you've got the carbon fiber just in this little area with the steering wheel adjustment, which is automatic. And well, there's one more look before we pop in, and it sounds like there's more planes. There have been planes flying by all day. Just listen. They're loud. Aha! There it is. Now you can see it. There's our plane. Doo-doo-doo. Now let's go over the interior here of the FTX. So first off, with the steering wheel, you just have the standard steering wheel that you'd get from the Laramie, except they have changed things with the trim on it. So you can see you've got the carbon fiber trim. You've got the little volume control right there with the voice command control. And this does come with adaptive cruise control, your controls for the center stack, and again, just lots of carbon fiber. And then you do have the stock for the turn signals / windshield wipers right there. And then this does come with a column shifter where you can shift the gears yourself with those plus and minus buttons. And then it does have the little drive mode select, which you click in, but we'll get into that in just a moment. Here's our center gauge cluster, and they've got the custom gauges that say FTX on it, which I love the coloration on them. They look really good. For some reason, they look like lighter blue on the camera, but in person, they're kind of like a darker blue. Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully in editing and everything that comes through in the camera better. But yeah, really cool little setup. You got the digital screen right there in the center, and we've got a truck that's low on fuel. That never happens when I review new trucks. But yeah, pretty cool with the little setup. And then we do have the drive modes, which you've got the normal, you've got the tow haul, you've got the eco, the slippery, and then the deep snow / sand. And you can see that recommends you what to do when you go on the drive mode. But yeah, pretty straightforward setup. Love the look of the gauges. Here's the whole center infotainment system section. You can see we've got the diesel exhaust brake right there. We've got the stability control. You've got the hazard lights at the top, your hill descent control, your lane departure assistance, and then that little button pops on the camera system. So you can see that you've got a little bird's eye view, and then you have the view out the front, and then you press it again and it'll pop it off. But notice that you have that little menu right there, which lets you scroll through a couple more views. So you have all these views at the front, just crazy in terms of like all the stuff. And then yes, it does come with a cargo camera, which I mean, I kind of expect at this point for a truck that you're going to use to tow a fifth wheel with. And then yes, you can do auxiliary cameras, which is pretty neat. If you guys are wondering, the last thing is just the backup camera. You can see you've got regular trajectory lines with that, and then zooms in. I mean, pretty straightforward setup. Still has the bird's eye view. As for the rest of the infotainment system itself, response time on it is really good. It's just Ford's newer infotainment system, so it's a good little unit. There's not much else to talk about. You guys have seen this a million times, so I mean, this looks cool on the outside, but it's still practical on the inside. Now I've got a bunch of controls just down below the infotainment system. We've got our analog controls for the radio. You've got the full power outlet, and notice all the carbon fiber around the venting. And then on the other side, you've got our driveline section. You got your 2-wheel high, your 4-wheel high, and then your 4-wheel low. Trailer brake controls, and then you've got the trailer backup system. And then we've got our dual zone climate controls. This truck does come with heated and cooled seats. But yeah, just look at the mass of carbon fiber around everything. It's pretty cool looking. Now we do have this little lid here, which they actually put a plaque which tells you your number. So this is number 54 of 500 for the FTX series, which I think is pretty cool. It's a numbered truck. And then you've got your little wireless phone charger with the USB, more carbon fiber all around here. And then you got some extra storage right here with a couple of cup holders. And then we do have the center console here, which again, storage space is really solid. Again, nothing's changed the practicality with the center console. And then we got the glove box, which has more carbon fiber, which is pretty neat. Decent amount of storage space within that glove box. And then notice you got the nice stitching all above that, but that is that part of the interior. Top here, we've got all of our auxiliary switches. And again, it's one to turn on the light bar. And then we do have the power sliding window here in the F-450. Full panoramic sunroof, all of your light controls up here, and then universal garage door openers, and then it's kind of like a grayish headliner for the coloration. So we've got our little paper here on the FTX. Feel free to freeze the frame so you guys can read all of the options that come with the FTX. You guys can see that blackout package I was telling you about a little bit earlier. But that all being said, the total MSRP is $115,859. And that all being said, well, let's take the FTX out and see how she drives. Well, let's quickly talk about visibility before we set off here in the FTX. So first off, visibility over the hood. It's a little bit difficult because it's such a massive truck, and then also the hood's pretty big. But remember, you do have the little camera outside the front, so that helps out a ton. There's your visibility through both the mirrors. They do come with blind spot monitoring. And then here's all throughout the rest of the rear. So visibility with this truck is actually pretty solid, other than, you know, the front end's a little bit difficult, but Ford already has a fix for that. So let's set off. So we are setting off here in the FTX, and first off, let's actually talk about the road noise and the ride quality as we are getting here onto the interstate. So from a ride quality perspective, I just drove it a little bit before starting the video, and just like that Black Ops F-450, it drives actually surprisingly smooth. A lot of people comment on that video that I was kind of saying that it was rough compared to a regular truck. Like, I understand that once you load these trucks up, they are going to ride even smoother. But like, again, if you're used to a half ton or something like this truck unloaded definitely rides a little bit on the rougher side, but it's smooth for like a heavy duty truck. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. But let's get our acceleration. Oh boy, all that torque, 1,050 pound-feet of torque and 475 horsepower. Well, the window sticker fell off. You definitely hear quite a bit of tire noise with this truck. So especially on, like around town, it wasn't really noticeable, but here on the highway, definitely noticed the tire noise quite a bit. More than enough torque and horsepower though. The acceleration's great. The ride quality on the highway, it's not bad. So like if you're used to like most sports cars, it kind of has that same kind of like, you know, bumping all over the place feeling. It's relatively smooth, but it's definitely not the smoothest. So far, I mean, it's pretty solid from the driving perspective, but the one thing I'm really impressed with is it doesn't drive that big. So I drove my Raptor up here today, so that's kind of what I've been driving that every single day. So that's a little bit of a bigger size truck, but not nearly as big as this. And then I just drove a Shelby Super Snake F-150 before filming this video, and this truck's big, but it doesn't feel like way bigger than those trucks to drive. It really doesn't feel cumbersome at all, which is definitely something that I appreciate. And it's pretty direct with the turning. You just kind of have to get used to having such a long back end. Sorry, I'm immature, but you just have to kind of get used to that with this truck. Turning's pretty good. Yeah, the torque, oh my goodness. You just leave people in the dust in this thing. Like, someone will pull up to you and they'll be like, oh, it's just a slow big old diesel, and then you freaking just fly by them in this truck. It is so powerful. And I have driven like maybe 1 mile, and I've used like 4 miles of range. Don't ask me questions about that, but let's get into summing things up here on this F-450 FTX. So if you're looking for a crazy practical tow truck, then the 450 is for you. But if you're like, you know what, the 450 is too plain Jane for me, I want something that's I could actually take off-road, which, I mean, this has the leveling kit, it's got the off-road tires, and you want something that just looks cool, aggressive, then this is the truck. Like, this truck has so much road presence because it's massive, but also because it looks really cool. You've got the venting on the hood, you've got the off-road tires, you've got the blacked out with the white theme, just a really good looking truck. And so if that's kind of what you're wanting, then this is going to be the truck for you. I understand that it's expensive, but 450s, you know, fully loaded like this are already expensive. And so it's like you're getting this cool off-road package on a 450. And yeah, I don't know, I dig this truck. I dig it as much as the Black Ops. If I had to choose between this and the Black Ops, I'd probably choose this truck just because I like the contrast with the white and the black, whereas the Black Ops, it's all blacked out, which looks good, but you know, I definitely prefer contrast. Now, that is going to sum things up with our video on this 2020 Ford F-450 FTX. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to Ed Kenley Ford for giving me some time with this FTX. Check out their inventory on the link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.